you doing, man?
What's up, JJ? How's your day?
It's good.
Good.
Today was good. Yeah. The week was kind of busy. You know, I'm glad to get back into doing this after a
Yes.
little break. But
Yeah.
the Thanksgiving was good. We just had some people here. We hosted it here it's probably I think it's the first time that Ronnie and I have hosted Thanksgiving here at the house.
No way, yeah.
Yeah. We usually have it at like my mom's or at Melinda's or Brian Rogers, but I think we even had it one time at Georgie's, but yeah, this was the first time we had it. We had a bunch of people here. It was perfect, man. It fit in. It fit really nice. It was fun. It was just relaxing. Everybody's laughing and having a good time and stuff. So
That's dope, man.
yeah, it was fun.
It's especially needed now with COVID and all that shit going on. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
nice to have some time to be able to spend with our family,
Yeah.
and we have to be grateful, and we're blessed to have the opportunity.
Heck yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially right now. I know
Yeah.
people have different feelings and stuff on COVID and gatherings and stuff like that, but to me it was just, I mean, it's necessary and I mean, I can't control as much as you try to control wearing a mask, sanitize, all that kind of stuff. Like you have no idea what other people have touched and brushed up. I mean, you can't control any of that stuff, man. And I refuse to just sit inside and do nothing with no one around. Like that's not. It's one of the things that I love more than anything is being around people.
Yeah.
Love being around. Even if, dude, how many times have you come over, right? Just chilling on the couch, you end up falling asleep, we're watching TV, right? That to me, even if we're not having, like, not everything's got to be like a deep conversation about stuff. Even we're just chilling,
we
dude.
have to be going on an adventure.
Nah, man.
Nah, like we're
just being
chilling.
around people, chilling is
Yeah.
my most favorite thing. I love being
Yes.
around people. It's just the sense of community. To me, I love it.
It
I
brings a lot of
absolutely love it.
comfort. Brings a lot of comfort.
Yeah, and then for those of you watching this, you can see our new little setup. We got the Christmas tree here. Yeah, for the viewers, you'll see occasionally and actually pretty frequently the setup will change. My wife moves around our furniture like crazy every couple of weeks. It's set up in a new way, so we're trying to find different and creative ways to be able to fit everything in. And still get the good visual along with the good audio and good conversation. So this week is Christmas tree.
Oh, it's dope, man. I love it.
Yeah, we got this little Polar Express ornament. When we went to the Polar Express, that was pretty fun.
Oh, that's super dope. That's out in Arizona, right?
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was pretty cool. The kids loved it, dude.
They did?
I've actually never watched the movie. They read the book when you're on the train, and then like everything that's going on in the book is happening simultaneously on the train. So it's really cool, man. It's the kids, like I said, the kids dug it. The weather was dope. It was cold. They have like a little Santa's village you drive by in the train. So it was dope.
We were supposed to go. I think I had it scheduled, but I think we had COVID, so we couldn't take the kids. I've never been on a train, so I want to go on a train.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
So now I have to take back what I said about never being on a train.
Yeah.
And we were on the Polar Express.
Right. And well, you know what? I mean, I've been on the subway. I've been on the subway in New York.
Touche. I've been on the subway too.
But that's not a train.
Yeah.
That ain't a train. That's the subway though.
That's not the train that us Californians think about. Like,
no. Like I'm thinking like, the movie with Will Smith, the Wild West movie, like a fancy old school ass train. I want to ride in that shit. Or like in that Denzel Washington movie, when they're on that train. What's that movie? We were just talking about it.
Oh, Equalizer.
Equalizer. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Executioner.
I mean, it's pretty much,
his role. Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Yeah, but I that's what I think of when I think of like a train, Because Sienna used to ride the little Metrolink from Northern California down. But she's like, man, that's just whack. It's like just a bunch of plastic seats and a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, no, I've never been on that type of train. I know Ronnie's been a couple times from the metro from like here out to like Olvera Street in LA a couple times. Where you can do like the market and swap meet stuff they got going on out there. But I don't think I've never been on a train either. When I think of train, it makes me think of Girl on a Train.
Oh yeah,
that crazy movie.
That movie's dope.
That's super good.
Movie's so dope.
Yeah. But yo, did you happen to see the Mike Tyson fight this weekend?
You know what, man? I saw the fight between Jake Paul and Nate Robinson.
Bro.
And I saw the Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson looked good. He's a boxer, man. He's a boxer. He's a brawler. He looked good.
Yeah.
Roy Jones looked good. They're older. You know, I saw like a lot of people talking shit about them being older, but
Yeah.
they still probably knock a lot of motherfuckers out.
Yeah, I was against getting it, but we had like a late memorial service for my aunt who passed away back in March. So everyone just kind of wanted to get together afterwards. It was real small, just the family, and everyone kind of wanted to get together afterwards and just hang out, right? Just have some pizzas, whatever. So we all ended up going to my mom's, and my cousins were there, and they were like, "Oh, let's get the fight." So they ordered the fight, and I think when I turned it on, it was Badu Jack and somebody else fighting. And that was, I mean, I saw the end of it. It seemed okay. But then the Jake Paul and Nate Robinson fight came on. And I know Jake Paul trains.
Yeah.
Right? I know he's put a lot of time in on the mitts, sparring. But then I was like, but Nate Robinson, dude's a pro athlete, NBA player, super, super talented, super athletic. And I was, this might actually be a good fight. Dude, it was he put Nate Robinson to sleep.
To sleep, bro.
Dude. And then the memes that kept coming out right afterwards were ruthless, dude.
The one that
the internet is undefeated.
Yes, they're undefeated. I was done when they had it was like a top-down picture of him laid out.
Yeah.
And they made it look like the basketball logo and the red, white, and blue. I was like, no, dude.
Yes,
I'm
dude.
done.
People are so quick and so ruthless.
Crazy.
Well, then he had that tweet. He was like, what did he say? Something like, I'm doing this for the NBA and athletes all over the world, and most importantly, my kids. And then homeboy gets slept. I heard he didn't do much sparring either, which, I mean, you could obviously tell.
You know what? What Jake Paul looks like, it's something that he's actually interested in now, and he's actually pursuing it, and he's taking it serious. And even in the fight, like, yeah, maybe it was a little celebrity fight, but you could see he kind of maintained his composure. He tried to counter. Like, he took his time.
Well, Nate Robinson fought as if a person who's never been in a boxing ring before. He was rushing in super hard. And they clashed heads a couple times, and that's because Jake Paul it didn't faze him that much that he was getting rushed like that.
Yeah.
And he just stayed
That
pretty
composure.
calm. He stayed pretty calm
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing, which was pretty interesting.
He threw a couple of wild punches. Like, he has work. He has some work that he needs.
That
But
short right hook.
yeah.
And then, I didn't think he was going to get up after the one right before that. I thought he was just going to
he
stay
threw
down.
like a
'Cause he kept
haymaker.
well, then they kept giving him the 8 count, and then letting him like walk around and ask him if he was okay, which doesn't happen in a real fight.
Yeah.
Like, you wipe them gloves off, you get right back in it. But he was clearly like in over his head. I wonder if at some point he just had too much pride to be like, nah, I can't do this no more. Just call it quits. Because then, look what happened. He had to have felt at some point that he was just way too deep.
Yeah.
Way too deep.
Way in over his head.
Way
He
too
was,
deep.
bro.
And now
But we know, we talk about that with like jiu-jitsu, right? Like,
Yep.
you can't, like, when we went over to Peerless, like, some of the guys had mentioned that, like, hey, we get marathon runners that come in here and they get their ass wiped. They get wiped down on the mats because that doesn't matter. It's a different level of endurance.
Jiu-jitsu cardio is unlike any other cardio because it's taxing on all of your muscles,
Your whole entire
your
body.
fingertips, your grips, everything, dude. It taxes everything.
Yeah.
And it's not the same as catching a runner's high.
Yeah.
Right, and it just seems like you're in motion. No. This is, especially if you get caught in bad positions, or some fat dude's got their tummy on your face.
And you could barely breathe,
Yeah, and
and
you're
you're
like
trying to, Now your
Breathing
body's
out,
sending straight lactic acid to your leg, and then he's trying to get you in
and then
a,
you're on top of that,
you're
you're
like, oh shit,
panicking.
you're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
crazy.
It's way different. So the same thing. I'm sure he's holding his breath with every punch because he's, nervous or whatever the case is. But it showed, man. And then the Tyson and Jones fight, I was like, well, then I had no idea there was all these rules and stipulations, like no hard body shots or no hard face shots. If they started going too hard, they were gonna stop the fight and break them apart. It was supposed to be like this fun charity exhibition. It wasn't supposed to be like a real fight. But I think if Tyson would have went harder, I think he would have probably knocked Jones out.
I think
With
so.
some of the stuff he was throwing and the way Jones was throwing out that jab, how he used to do, he used to jab and then keep sliding out and duck under. But yeah, Tyson kept throwing that leaping left hook, and if he would have threw it with intention to knock him out, I think he would have.
Yeah.
I think he would have. But
I love watching Mike Tyson. Man.
yeah,
Absolutely love
he's
Mike
scary.
Tyson.
He's a scary human being.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
He's a beast.
he's pretty scary.
That's cool, man. It was cool. I liked it though. We were supposed to come over. We ended up. I ended up taking a week off of work, and I was like, oh well, I'll just go into work. And I was like, oh, I'll stay home.
Yeah.
And then I ended up like sleeping all day. We were super busy the night before,
Oh, okay.
so I was like literally out, bro.
Yeah.
I wake up to like 5, and then I was like, oh babe, let's just hang out and go get some food.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna call Jaren and see what Jaren's doing. So I thought you could hang out with me. You want to hang out with Jaren? I'm like, of course. What day do I want to hang out with Jaren?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
I'll hang out with you.
It was it was cool. We just hung out. We see Ronnie's family all the time, just because they're extremely close, right? So it's fun. It's fun seeing that. But like my cousins, we hardly ever get together as like a group and stuff. So it's always fun catching up with them and hanging out with them. I got my cousin Matt. He's crazy. He's hilarious, man. He comes up with all this random stuff. So it's fun just kicking it with him. We're talking sneakers. He's a big sneaker guy too.
Oh, did you buy
and
a
they
lot?
both love MMA, so we got that in common too.
Oh,
We
that's
talk about
dope.
fighting all the time.
That's
so
dope.
yeah, it's pretty fun, man. It's
cool.
it's a good time. And it was good. It was a good closure. You know, that whole like memorial service for my cousin. You know, it was nice. It was nice. So
That's cool, man. That's good. That's really good.
yeah. Dude, I saw a video. When did I see it? Yesterday. So I don't know how I don't have any social media. So instead of scrolling Instagram, what I'll do now is I'll go on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll go through YouTube and I'll hit search and random stuff, whatever. And a video of Jason Statham when he used to be on the national diving team came up.
What?
So they have video footage of him when he was on the national diving team.
Yeah.
Full set of hair, super young looking.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
So he's just like a naturalist athlete.
He's
then.
dude.
He
There was
is, huh?
there was a couple. I mean, when you watch like the Olympics and stuff like this, or stuff like that, you're like, he was okay, because there's a couple where he would land and there would be like a big old splash out of one end. You could see he overturned, but it's crazy to see. Dude, he hits like the double backflip spin.
What?
Yeah, he does all that stuff.
I like
all that
Statham
stuff.
too. He's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's a
How'd you just found it just scrolling through?
it just his face popped up on the little screen or whatever,
Yeah.
and it said I can't remember what it said, something about a review of Jason Statham diving or something like that. So of course I had to click on it and watch him do some dives and stuff. But
I watch YouTube all the time, and me and Sienna found the other day I came home from work. It was like some guy posted videos of like old commercials, and this was from like 1997. So we were like looking at like, damn man, we were
wow.
10 years old. Like we were trying to figure out what was it doing? Like what did it say? Like, and like, man, do you remember this commercial?
did you
this
remember
song?
what they were? Yeah, what was going on?
I think a couple I do. A couple of them I remembered, and then some I was like, damn, I never even recognized it. Like I
Yeah.
have no idea. So that was kind of dope.
That's
dope.
fun. That's fun going like hitting the rewind button to see if you can remember stuff like that.
Yeah.
We used to do that all the time with wrestling. See how many old wrestlers we could
Oh,
name.
that's
Because we used to
right.
watch wrestling all the time, dude. Monday Night
Heavy.
Raw,
Heavy.
dude. Saturday mornings, all that stuff.
Who was your
So,
favorite? If you had to pick one,
Just one?
just one. Maybe two. I'll give you two.
Oh man, it was probably. I was a huge Stone Cold fan. I know it's cliche, but I was a huge Stone Cold. I remember I had a long sleeve Stone Cold shirt, and it had like a big picture of his face with a rattlesnake on it. It was a super dope shirt, dude. Like now, that shirt would be worth like a ton of money. People do retro WWF and WWE stuff all the time, but I would for sure say Stone Cold. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think who would be. I was always a big fan of Rey Mysterio too,
Oh yeah.
because of how little he was and how he was willing to do the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
Craziest stuff. But I really liked him too.
Great Mysterio.
Yeah.
So that would be your two?
That would
Stone
probably be
and
my
Ray?
two. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I always loved the Ultimate Warrior.
Of course.
And
of
the
course.
British Bulldog. I
Yeah.
love the British Bulldog.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
thought he was hardcore. Like
Yep.
that motherfucker was hardcore.
Heck yeah.
I like The Rock. The Rock was cool like later on watching, and I love watching Stone Cold because he was
Yes.
always talking shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Even to this day, we try to like Google like Stone Cold little memes and stuff and YouTubes at work and
Yeah.
we talking shit.
Yeah, he used to have a show. I can't remember what channel it was on, but he had a show, and it was the Broken Skull Ranch, and it was like a obstacle course, but it was like where
Yes.
they competed. Dude, me and the kids, we would watch, dude, over and over and over, and we would get hooked on it, get stuck. It was a pretty good show. And with that kind of stuff too, I always wondered, like, man, how well would I do in jumping into something like that and competing with somebody? But it looks like it was super fun. Some of those dudes were, I mean, you get some really good athletes coming in out of there though, and young.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that stuff's kind of cool, like Ninja Warrior type
Yeah.
shit like that. It seems cool. I
I'd
don't
be
know,
super
like,
embarrassed if I was one of those dudes that didn't even make it past the first round.
bro. I'd be like, fall in the water. I'm like, whatever, man.
I'm sure nerves got to get a lot of people on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Sienna went to a college with some guy that builds those things, and his name is Kevin Bull, and he's always on there, and he has like alopecia or something. So there's like he always has like a huge following with that, and she loves him. He's a cool dude. But he's always doing it. Like, oh, it's cool, man. But
Yeah.
she was saying like growing up, like he was always like that. Like,
Oh.
they lived up north and there was like woods in the back and they were always like
Jumping
climbing
off
trees,
trees.
fucking ropes and trying to swing from one tree to another, like
Yeah.
doing crazy shit like that. And then building like, so like to him it was like normal. It was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And then now he's like doing something he did as a kid, and making a living doing it.
Yeah, now he's got fans and
Yeah,
followers and all
yeah.
that type. That's pretty cool. There's a guy from my church. He's actually got a really cool setup in his backyard where he's done little, like piece by piece, like he put like some posts and then some 2x10s. And he's got like he's on one section, he's got just little like 1x that are grooved at a 45, almost like a cleat. And so you have to crawl across that. And then he put like hand pegs on there. So you have to use hand pegs or little hand, like rock climbing, yeah. And then like a rope swing. And then I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, he might have tried to build this like the salmon ladder. So, it has the bar and then it has the slats here and you try to
Yes.
jump and get the hooks on the
Yeah,
bar.
yeah.
Something like that.
That's
But
dope.
he's gone all out piece by piece. That'd be super dope to get to do for the kids.
That'd be
I think
really
that'd be
cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. They'd have a blast trying to do something like that. Because every kid wants to be, wants to try, especially little boys, dude. They want to they want to go
Climb
they
on
want-
everything,
yes.
jump on everything.
They want to see
jump
how
up.
fast they can do it, how quick they can do it, how high they can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you put a couple together, then it's like a competition.
Yeah, all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So that'd be something fun. If you had the space, you could definitely put in. Even if you didn't have a lot of space, if you had like a long, narrow backyard or side yard, you could put some stuff in
Yeah,
there.
you could figure it out. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of probably go along the perimeter.
Yeah.
I was thinking that right now too. Like, that would be dope to have a big ass yard and just have like, oh yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
I wanted a big yard, man.
Yeah.
I've always wanted like cows and chickens and shit. And
I tried to convince Ronnie to let me get chickens here.
yeah,
She wasn't having it.
bro.
Well, I would get eggs from buddies who had chickens. She's like, I'm not eating those. I said, why not? Well, because it came out of a chicken. So what do you think the eggs that were in the store came out of? Yeah, she was like, yeah, but I don't know that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you think the egg came from?
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
it's just disconnected
Yeah,
from it.
100%.
Bro, Michael Hawkins had to paint this this fence out out in Fullerton one day when I lived out in Fullerton. And so he was like, hey man, do you want to come help? Like I'll give you a couple $100 or something. I said, yeah, dude, I'll come help. And he was like, all right, we're gonna be there like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like,
Not me.
damn, bro, that's
Not
crazy.
me.
Like I could get there at 6. He's like, all right, cool. So I get there later, and it was a cool property, man. It was pretty big, and it was like a farm style fence all the way around the property.
So like the split rail fence?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was white, and they just wanted to repaint it. And excuse me, I keep yawning, dude. I'm still waking up. So we were painting the fence, and they had like, there was like some other like livestock in the back, and there were chickens everywhere. And I thought it was so dope because
Yeah.
the roosters would be singing in the morning, and then they're walking around with their chests out, and
Yeah.
the little chickens are walking around. But dude, they would shit everywhere, and their smell. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I couldn't get
Yeah.
over it.
They smell no matter what.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things, because I don't have a very big backyard. It's kind of wide, but it's not very deep.
Yeah.
No matter where we put the chicken coop, like you'd be able to smell.
You'd smell it.
You'd smell the chickens.
And
So
I would imagine you to get over it because we were gonna buy a house over off of like Washington. We were looking at a house over off Washington, and they had a cool chicken coop. It was a large property though, but the chicken coop was far away from the house.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's completely doable.
Yeah.
And then you just had the chickens that roam around the property. That's gangster.
Yes.
So I was like, I could
pretty
do that
dope.
all day long.
Yeah, that's dope. I would love to have some sort of chickens and stuff. I actually, me and somebody else, we talked about possibly looking into buying a cow, and then just getting it slaughtered and having all that beef
Bro.
saved up. Get a reach-in freezer. My dad's got
down.
one.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm
I would love to go
serious.
hunting and get my own meat that way, but it's a little more reasonable and doable just buying a cow and doing it that way rather than going hunting.
Yes.
So.
You see,
But
I mean,
that'd
I
be
got
dope.
the hunting fit
Yo,
on today.
Yeah, you
But-
can't go without mentioning that. That shirt is dope.
Bro, we had a deer that got hit at work one day, and I had to go. It was in the roadway, and I had to go move the deer.
Where was this at?
It was over in Corona, like by the hills over there. All those hills in Corona, like off of Green River Road, back over there.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, I've always wanted to go hunting. Like, yeah, man, let me go get it. I got this, man. I jump out, go and get the deer, bro. And I'm like walking up, and I'm like 10 yards away. And I'm like, the f- does that smell? And I'm like walking, like, woo. Ugh. Like, okay, I keep going. And I get to the deer, and I look down, and it was a female deer. And I was just like, I just got this whiff of like, it hit me. It was that little left from Mike Tyson, like, and I was like, oh my God. It smelled so bad, bro. It
Yeah?
was dry heaving in the middle of the road. People
Oh
were
my
laughing because
gosh.
people were stopped. Like, people were laughing at me, and I'm like, and I'm like trying to drag this thing, and I was like, dude, I couldn't
You
do
just
it.
grab it by its legs and try to pull
And
it.
try to pull it, and I was like, I could not do it. So my partner who was working with me that night was dying laughing. He was like, dude, I wish I had a camera. And I'm like, and I'm like, dude, I was like, dude, I could never go hunting. I can't do it. I would shoot a deer and be like, hey, do you mind going get that for me?
Well, that's not even the worst part about it. You got to skin it.
You got skin and all
Gut
that,
it.
bro.
Take them guts out.
Bro.
I had a hard time cleaning out the turkey earlier
Bro.
for Thanksgiving.
Oh, bro.
But yeah, I've gone hunting a couple times with some family that lives in Minnesota, but nothing like we went duck hunting. I don't think we did any kind of like game. Like we were supposed to set up a bear hunt because
That'd be
in
dope.
I think it's like in October, you can go bear hunting, and if you hunt with a bow, you don't have to get like an out-of-state license.
And that's in Minnesota?
And that's in Minnesota, and they have black bear up there. And they're not, I mean, they're big, but they're not like 500 pounds, 800-pound bears. They're like 200-300-pound black bears. My my uncle says they taste like crap though, because they eat they're like scavengers. So if you get some bears that eat like berries,
Yeah.
their meat tastes amazing, and it even has like a purplish hue. But they say most bears are scavengers, so they'll eat dead carcasses,
Just whatever.
trash, anything. And he said their meat tastes like garbage. So,
That'd
but I'll
be
never,
so dope.
dude. I would have paid to get it taxidermy too. When you walk in the house, you just have this bear.
That'd be dope. Put it
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
bro.
That or a bear rug.
That's hard.
That'd be dope.
I'd want a bear rug and a bear blanket.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
I'd have
so
to
you
sleep.
can put your feet in the feet to keep your feet warm.
Yes. That's so hard, Jay.
Yes.
We got to do that.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
No, I'll
dude.
do that all day long.
That'd be
I'll do
dope.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
do
yeah,
it, bro.
yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll just wear a mask or something.
Yeah.
I'll just wear a mask.
Let's get some
and-
Vicks. Put some Vicks in
Yeah,
there.
and we're good to go. I think so. I'm gonna have to because I have to go hunting. That's
Yeah.
super dope.
Yeah, it seemed like it was. We had it set up one time, and then I can't remember why we ended up canceling it, and then it just kind of fell off. But yeah, that'd be something to be super tight.
That's
dude.
cool, man.
Yeah.
We gotta get a cow though. We got because there were a couple of guys. There was a dude that used to work for AM 590. I don't know if he's still there. Super cool dude. He was like the boss there, and he was saying him and his wife they got he had a property and they had like a pig, and they had the pig. It was like a free roaming pig. It ate grass, and there's no hormones, none other BS. And there are people that'll come to your property and will pretty much like harvest whatever it is, like if it's a cow, a pig, etc. And so they humanely put like the animal down, they take it, process it, and bring you all the meat back. And they'll ask you like, what do you want? You want this, you want that, I want bacon, I want ham, I want blah, 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 blah. And this guy said he was like, man, we had deep freezers full of pork. Where he was like, it was just like it lasted like a year and a half, 2 years.
Carnitas, pork chops, ribs. Dang.
All day long.
That's dope.
Tri-tip, bro, you could kill it. You could kill it. You could do everything, anything you wanted, everything you needed to do. And we got to do that.
Dude, that'd be fun. That'd be dope.
We gotta
That'd
do
be
that.
super convenient too.
Super
Oh, what do you
dope.
feel like tonight? Some burgers? I got burgers.
But it's like fresh, fresh, clean meat.
Yep.
And there's so much of it. There's a dude too that he had 2 pigs. I think there were 2 guys at work, and then him and his dad. They got 2 pigs, and he said that there's just so much meat out of it. But it's just like that's dope. You're getting like good meat, and you're gonna have a ton of meat,
Heck yeah.
and I think it's worth the investment, man.
I think so too, especially like if you plan on using it or plan on obviously eating the meat, right, and not letting it go. We use beef like crazy around here.
Yeah.
Beef and chicken it's a pretty 50-50 split for the way like all the meals and stuff that we cook, beef and chicken. So I mean, we're tacos all the time and goulash and burgers and all that stuff, dude.
We gotta
That'd
do
be
it.
dope. Yeah, that'd be dope, man.
Okay, I'm down, man. I'm down. Let's buy a
Alright,
cow. And
we'll
call
look
it a
into it.
day.
We'll
Yeah.
look into it. We'll get that done.
That's cool.
We got to name it though. So then we're eating it. We can say let's have so and so for dinner.
I'm thankful for
Betty Lou.
Betty Lou.
Betty Lou.
Big booty Betty Lou.
Hopefully, get some of that meat. Yeah, man.
That's cool, man.
So yeah, that's cool though. That was something that I was interested in. When I even heard that was an option, I don't know why I didn't think it would be an option, but when I was talking about it with somebody, I was like, dude, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Just get a big freezer full of meat.
Yeah.
Just buy a cow.
I've heard that sometimes you can do like depending on whether it's like a dairy or butcher farm or I don't know. I wouldn't quote myself on it, but I thought I've heard of like people even purchasing a cow from them and like the cow just kind of being a free roaming cow on their property. But obviously you're gonna pay a little bit more money for something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that'd be kind of dope. That'd be dope. 'Cause I would
Yeah.
still try that. I would still mess around with that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
That's cool. Ever since I was a kid, man, I've always wanted to like go hunting and do like shit like that and shoot and I mean, we just grew up as like city kids, just kind of going to school and running around on our bikes and shit like that.
I
And
remember the first time I ever shot a gun. I can't even remember what size shotgun it was. Yeah, I can't remember. But I was with my uncle. I was 9 years old, and we were walking through the woods. And I had it. And he was like, "Hey, man, you see that up there?" And he pointed, and I could see a little bird perched on a tree, on like a little like a tree, like a branch. He was like, "Shoot that." And I was like, "For real?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so I was, dude, super nervous. So I put it up, and boom! All I saw was feathers.
You
So
hit
yeah,
it.
so it wasn't like we were hunting that thing. It was just, hey, shoot the bird. So I shot the bird, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
But I remember it had a big old kick and everything.
Yeah.
But it was fun, dude. Super fun. Because that's all they do up there,
Yeah.
right? Freaking hunt, fish,
Have
ice
guns.
fishing. Ice fishing's crazy. My she fell in.
What? Ayla did?
Yep, she fell in. I
How,
think it was just her
when
whole
was
leg.
this? How what happened?
This was so she was, if I was 9, she was probably 4 or 5 years old, something like that. And we're out on a lake. And dude, you're talking about a giant lake, but you can't tell it's a lake. It's all frozen over.
It's just white.
Dude, trucks on the ice, houses on the ice.
What?
Yeah, dude. And then you drill a hole in the ice and you just drop fishing poles down there. I think my sister was like backing up or something, and her foot fell right in. Boom. And so like her whole leg up to her hip fell in the water.
What?
Yeah, ice water. And so we had to put like those little heater things with the propane on there, make sure she was warm. And yeah, it was crazy.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
but it was fun. That kind of stuff is fun. I don't remember it being boring when I was a kid, but I think about it now and I'm like, man, I could see myself getting bored out there.
Yeah? Bro, it's so beautiful.
I hate fishing.
Oh, yeah.
It is so boring.
I like it, dude. I think
it is
it's
so
cool.
boring.
It's like relaxing.
Not even. I'm too
No?
anxious for it.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude.
It takes a long time.
I need to be like moving or doing something. Like now, if I had like a cigar.
That's what I was just gonna say.
If
we had a cigar or we had our pipes and you
Yes.
just like zzz, and just
Pipes and
chill
our microphones.
and just
Or
chill
had cigars and our microphones. That I could do that.
all day.
But like just to go out on my own, like there's guys at my work, dude. They love fishing, and they'll just go out. They got their little boats, and they'll just be gone all day fishing by themselves. I'm like, dude, that does not sound like fun at all, dude.
I like it, man.
But that'd be something I'd like to take the kids to do is try fishing, just little outdoor stuff like that.
Yeah, we gotta take him because I want to get Booba a little, like a little fishing reel. And,
Jet used to have one.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he went a couple times with Roger, because Roger likes to fish. They just went to Fairmont just to try it out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he liked that. But I don't know if I'm not sure if the girls would like it. I don't think Charlie would like it.
I don't know if Sadie would either. So, I don't know. And now she has little earphones and shit.
That's
she
how Charlie is.
Listen to music.
Yep.
And like, I'm okay, Dad, and she'd read.
Well,
She'd read a book.
That's the troubles, if you will, of having a teenage and a preteen daughter, having kids as teenagers.
Yeah.
Now we have these teenage daughters, and they're doing the stuff that we did.
Yeah.
Every time we go in the car, headphones in.
Yeah.
I remember when it was us though. I had the CD, the disc.
Yeah.
But I always brought a pillow with me, so the disc man would sit on the pillow, so if they bounced, it wouldn't skip.
Oh, it like absorbed the
Yeah.
like a little shock absorber.
Shock absorber before they had shock absorbers on the disc man. I was ahead of the game.
You're ahead of the game.
Yeah, but now they listen to Apple Music, but they're tuned out and zoned out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Sadie being her anime and her she watched the little CSI stuff we talked about before, and then her music just gone, and then now she's got the little AirPods. So I got Sienna some AirPods, and then Sienna bought me some AirPods. They're pretty dope.
Yeah,
man.
they are.
I like them, and I was like, at first I was like, man, I don't need that shit. And I got some Beats. I got like the first J Beats, the wireless ones that came out, but they like wrap around your ear.
Yeah, I have
and
some
so
of
like
those.
yeah, they move around a lot, and I'm like, oh whatever. But
I just use them for the gym.
yeah, me too. That's it. And the quality's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, but the AirPods are dope, man,
Yes.
because like they fit in there. They're comfortable. I
Yeah.
can still hear. I didn't get the pros because I can still hear.
Yeah.
So I can use them at work, and then you can like tap it
Yep.
and like I was like, dude, they're killing it.
Mine are kind of messing up right now though, because I can't. If I make a phone call with them in, I can't hear, or they can't hear me. So I don't know if it's something with the connection or what. But that was every time I try to call somebody, and I have my AirPods in, they're like, "You sound like you're real far away." So then I'll just take them off and jump on the phone, and it sounds better. So I don't know. But I've had mine for a while, so maybe they're just getting old.
Yeah, it's like Sadie had them, and she was like showing them to me, you know. And every time she takes it off, she like wipes it, and here you go. And I'm like, oh, you got dirty ears, girl. Let me give her a shot. No,
Bro, I
no.
do. I have a little box I keep in my backpack for work, and it's got Q-tips in it.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I try to clean my ears because my ears get super ridiculous amounts of wax.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like a genetic thing or what, but Dude, I get mad wax in my ears.
Dude, I do now. Now I do.
Big time.
I never, like, growing up as a kid, I don't remember it, but now I'm like, I would clean my ears like every day.
Yeah.
And it's just, because it's annoying when I have wax and shit, and you're like,
Yeah.
I gotta clean it.
Yeah.
I was cleaning my ears before we came over. And they're like,
We never clean the kids' ears either.
never. Yeah,
We never clean their ears.
Sometimes.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a thing.
You forget about it. It's weird, huh?
That ain't a big deal.
Like, to me, it's subconscious. Like, I'll just clean my ear real quick, but I won't. Like,
Yeah.
I
No,
forget if
I'll
it's-
clean my ear and be like, dude, that came out of here. It's all brown and super,
man.
thick and waxy.
Sienna had this massive wax booger that came out of her ear one day.
That's disgusting.
I was like, girl, if you don't get your life together.
Have you seen those like candles, those ear candle things?
Those, like, I would love to try that.
I've never seen them in action. I'm curious as if how actually effective they are.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to me how it could work.
Yeah.
You light a piece of paper and all of a sudden it draws wax out of your ear.
Yeah, it never
Seems
made
a little
sense.
weird,
It seems
but-
weird. It does.
The idea is pretty cool.
Sienna said she tried it and it works.
Yeah.
Because Sienna used to get, like, earaches and stuff when she was a kid all the
okay.
time. So
Yeah.
to her, she's always trying to try some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then that little teacup thing you can put in your nose. You ever had that? It's
Yes. A neti pot.
neti pot, yes. Yeah, she got me on that too.
Yeah. It'll clear you up, dude. That's crazy how that works. That saline
It
solution.
works good.
Yeah.
I feel like it fucked up my sinuses though. Like I feel like I always have sinus problems now.
Oh, you got baby sinuses.
I
now.
do, man. Now I'd be like,
It's like the flu shot for your nose.
yeah.
Now you're gonna get the
yes,
flu all the
Now I
time.
get the flu all the time. Now I'm like, oh man, I get fucked up.
Yeah, Ronnie was for a while. She was like having mad congestion issues, and she used it, and they cleared her up like almost instantly. So it works for her. The other thing too, like I hate Vicks. I hate anything like on my nose and
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't
Even though
like
I got this mustache sitting right under my nose, I hate Vicks. So she'll wait till I fall asleep to put Vicks on my nose.
Oh, see what?
Yeah, but dude, big old glob of Vicks.
And just love.
Oh, I can't stand it, dude.
You know, I like the smell because with the babies, you know, like we put it on, like with Boba, I just rub it on his chest and Sadie, and it's like, oh, it smells good. So like now the smell of Vicks reminds me of the kids.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now
yeah.
I never liked Vicks. I
Yeah.
hated it, but now it reminds me of the kids. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I like it. I
Yeah,
like the smell.
that does make sense.
Yeah,
Those nostalgic things that you think of.
yeah,
That's like for me, like I love the smell of like baby lotion.
yeah.
Love the smell of baby lotion because I mean, you use it when after you give the kids a bath.
Yeah.
But then it reminds you of when they were a baby, right? Because you know I don't have my freaking 10-year-old using baby lotion.
lotion, yeah.
So it reminds me of when they were kids, even though they don't use it now. Like I'll use it on the baby now, and it's it brings back those memories of when they were like a little baby, and you know the steps and stages. Because especially now with like 5 kids, it's so easy to forget
Yeah.
those little steps unless you look at pictures and stuff, right? And even then, a lot of times it doesn't do it justice. We have some videos of some of the kids, but yeah, like the stages from baby to you know, tummy time to sitting up to crawling and walking and words and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. It's fun to reminisce that kind of stuff.
I feel like as I got older, like when we had Booba, like Bubs was I feel like there was so much going on, like with work and at the time, like with Sadie and Booba's mom, like we weren't really in a good place, and you know, it was like a unique experience where sometimes I feel like it just went by so fast.
Yeah.
Where I was like, dang, I don't remember a lot of the things. Like I remember with Sadie because we were like 20. We were 20 when Nee got pregnant with Sadie. And I remember just being like afraid. Like I remember being like I was so afraid of being like, dang, I'm gonna have a kid. Like I'm responsible for a human being.
Yep.
And just thinking like, dude, I gotta work my ass off, and just thinking like, because my dad wasn't around growing up, and then and I think we were talking about this before too. Like my dad Kevin married my mom when I was a little kid. I was like 1, something like that, but that's my dad. I don't call him my stepdad. That's my pops.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's always been something that was a big deal to me as a father, is always making sure that like you're always present, you're always spending time with the kids.
Yeah.
And so with Sadie, it was crazy, man. Like I just remember when she was born, like just looking like, dude, this is my daughter. Like this is crazy. Like
Yeah.
that was crazy to me.
Yeah.
And so I remember times like we would just be chilling, like, cause that's when we moved back from Fullerton to Riverside, and like she used to just look around all the time, and I would just like lay down on the floor with her and just like watch her, and just
Yeah.
like she'd be chilling, she'd look at me, we'd be like looking at each other, and I'd be like talking to her all day,
Yeah.
and she'd be looking at me like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're
Absorbing
crazy.
it,
Yeah.
absorbing it, and yeah, that stuff is cool, man. I mean, similar. Yeah, similar. I had a baby at 18.
Yeah, little Charlie.
You know, that was yeah. It's almost like you're. So I remember when she was born. The moment she was born, dude, I came out and told everyone, oh, you know, little baby girl. Instantly broke down crying out of fear, super scared. But then it goes away real quick because then you realize like, well, I don't have time to be afraid anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I have now I have all this responsibility and all this stuff. And man, I have so much empathy for those who have to do it with no help at all.
Yeah.
I had a tremendous support system.
Yeah.
My family was amazing. Ronnie's family was amazing. We had people, you know, helping us out. You know, whether it be with sitting, with babysitting, with, you know, just anything. It was, I mean, it definitely made the process a lot easier, even though we were still kids having kids. You know, it was a crazy time, but it definitely now. So look, it's weird because that was 14 years ago when we had Charlie. But you look back, being, you know, 14, obviously 14 years ahead, and the way that you view what happened is a lot different.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I view back then as like, dude, I didn't have no idea what I was doing, man. I was only worried about football and, you know, doing that kind of stuff. And now I'm like, man, like the decisions that I made, right, when I started working for where I'm working at was because, well, now I have this responsibility.
Yeah.
And now it's led me to the career that I'm in now and the position I'm in now.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge ripple effect of stuff that happened.
Yeah.
That at the time you don't think of.
Yes.
You're just like, well, this is what I got to do.
You're just making moves.
Yes. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So that was a crazy time. And then Ronnie, she was going to night school. She was going to cosmetology school, getting her stuff done. So it was a lot of time with just me and Charlie, right? Just her, and we have a great relationship now. I mean, you know, she's pretty open and honest about the stuff that she feels and stuff that she wants to talk about, which is nice. I mean, it's that having that relationship early on, I think, curated what the relationship is now. Plus, me and Ronnie we say it all the time. We're way too immature to have kids.
Yeah, she was saying that earlier today.
We act like kids ourselves, dude. We're fools.
Yeah.
So I think it lightens up a lot of what goes on in the communication aspect of things. But I think that's something that's important that we've tried to keep up with Charlie specifically is the communication, because she's going through a lot of stuff. You know, obviously we went through. We were teenagers at one point. We were freshmen.
Yeah.
It's a little different now because
like COVID and shit.
they're not in class. Which I told her, I was like, man, I was so looking forward to you coming home stressed out, not knowing you've never been to Ramona. You have no idea where any class is, stressed out. I don't know where this class is. I don't know. But you don't get to experience that. So you will one day, though.
Yeah, she will. Hopefully in the near future.
Yeah.
You know, everything will kind of go back to normal. But that's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because, I mean, we've always been friends since then too as well. And I remember being 18 and you're like, hey man, we're having a baby. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh shit. I remember Dad sat me down and Dad was like, hey man, like, you know, Jaren's gonna be a father. Like his responsibility is his family now. So you gotta respect that.
Yeah.
So like, you gotta take a seat back and just you get in where you can fit in. And I was like, all right, okay, Dad. Like I just remember I listened to him and I just soaked it in and was like, all right, cool.
No.
And
but you were. I mean, it was an experience we all shared.
We all
together.
shared. Yeah.
One of my favorite pictures is the one of me and you trying to change Charlie's diaper on the couch.
Yeah.
Right? I think it was like one of the first poopy diapers either one of us had been around.
Yeah. And we're
So,
like,
yeah.
ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was rough.
I remember
It was
that day
rough.
like it was yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's cool, you know, and even, you know, from my perspective to see her grow up, and she's such a smart girl, she's a beautiful girl. It's like, dude, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like that's the coolest part about being a father is seeing that level of maturity and see her grow. And like now I look at Sadie and I'm like, dang, man, like I look at her now and I look at her like I remember little baby Sadie that couldn't crawl or move and she's just like looking around.
Yeah.
And then now she's just like chilling on her phone,
Yeah.
doing something or doing homework. And I'm just like, dude, that's
Hitting
cool
us with
as
them
fuck.
facts, all them facts she got up
Oh
on her
yeah,
brain.
yeah, right. Now she's like, no, you can't do that, Dad. And I'm like, how do you know?
Yeah.
You know, like okay, like I'm sorry, Sadie. Like I must have died because you all of a sudden you woke up and was smarter than I am.
Yeah.
Like okay, you
That's a
let
fun
me know.
stage.
Yeah,
That's a fun
it is.
stage.
It's fun,
Yeah.
huh? To just I always
Yeah.
mess with her.
Being actually, it was probably, it might have been like 3 years ago. Charlie was probably like maybe 11. She might have been like 12. But there was a point when Charlie swore that dragons were a real thing. And I was like, yo, I was like, all right. I said, you know what? Do your research. I said, I won't have to do much. And let's have a debate about whether dinosaurs or whether dragons were real or not.
Yeah.
And so it never ended up happening, but it was like one of those things. Like she was so like, of course, like you're dumb for thinking they weren't real. I seen them in movies.
Yeah.
I seen them in books. I read about them. Like, all right, well, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's what you think, that's fine.
How
But
did she feel? Was she defeated? Did she?
I don't even remember the conclusion of like how it came to pass as far as the truth. But I was like, because I remember there's a specific book she had, and it had like pictures and like fossil records, quote unquote, of dragons. And I was like, yo, those are all digital pictures. Like, that's not a real fossil of a real dragon. It's not real. Like, that's not a real thing. No, there's no flying, fire-breathing animal that was out there. I said, now, dinosaurs, different story. I said, but there was no dragons. You're not going to find anything on no dragons. She was like, yes, huh, they're in the book, Dad.
Yes,
I'm
huh?
like, all right. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I'll let you keep living your little fantasy life.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, the difference between now and then it's crazy. Like now, the relationship is so she's such a good girl and you know, mature beyond her age. And she's such a huge help with the other ones.
Yeah.
That now I'm like, all right, I guess it was a benefit having a kid at 18. You know what I'm saying? And it's helped obviously with the growing pains with having her so young. It's helped with obviously now with Jet, you know, the only boy we have in our family, and like the difference that's there, right? Jet, he's a lot like his sister, but in a lot of ways he's very different, you know. And so being a father to a girl, obviously they mature faster naturally anyways, right?
Yeah.
And then to a boy who I have to try and harness his, you know, him being super hyper or him having like a mood swing or him having, you know, him needing like all this attention and needing like, you know, affirmations and stuff like that. It's different and challenging, but it's helped. I feel like having each kid has been like a building block to help with the next one, and with the next one, and the next one. And one of the things that I try to do more than anything, like I was mentioning earlier, with me loving the idea or not the idea, but I love having people around. I love being around people. That's why I love having a big family. You know, 5 kids. Having a lot of kids was always a want of mine. I wouldn't have stopped at 5 if it were my choice. Well, if we could agree on it, I wouldn't have stopped at 5.
Well, what's the magic number?
Someone asked me that the other day, and I said, quick answer, 8.
Damn.
I said 8. So, and I don't know why that number popped in my head. It's just what I said, but I did say 8. But the idea of like 5 kids, but that not just having kids and them having their own interests, which is fine, but also being like a unit.
A unit,
and
a family.
Being a family, helping each other out, being there for one another, right? Encouraging one another, which is, I think more than anything, even though they're siblings, it doesn't seem to come natural always.
True.
You know,
True.
it's a lot of the bickering seems to come naturally.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
trying to be very specific and very very deliberate about having the kids, you know, have the way that they talk to each other, the way that they help each other, or the way that they are watching them do something, or the example the older ones are being for the little ones.
Yeah.
You know, for example, Jet, he seems to take on almost like a parent role when the younger ones are doing something that they shouldn't be. And it's hard. That's where it's hard because I want him to look out for his little siblings, and I want him to look out for his older sister too. But I don't want him to have the feel of being like a parent. That's my job.
Yes,
If I have to scold them, or if I have to discipline, or if I have to correct, let me do that.
Yeah.
You should be doing the part where you're helping and encouraging and all this stuff. So that's where it can get difficult because I don't want to give him a mixed message.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell him, hey, don't look out for them and help them,
Yeah.
but look out for them and help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, you're right,
it's
man.
yeah, that kind of that it's a little difficult.
You're right.
That. And again, he's the only boy.
Yeah.
So I mean, it may sound a little misogynistic, but needing him to be, you know, like a manly man, you know. And then to me, that being a man doesn't necessarily mean being mean and tough, and those I think are attributes of it. But you know, being able to look out for his sisters and step up for what is right. If something is wrong and someone else is doing something to them, you know, him stepping up and saying something or doing something. Like those are the stuff that I want to give him confidence in doing, right? So it's kind of like trying to find a balance of teaching him that, but also not having him do it too much to where now he's like this overbearing brother that all he does is scold the kids and yell at the kids and stuff. That's not what I want from him. And he does a tremendous job, and it's crazy. Like, like when he's a good big brother, dude, it's off the chain, man. He's an amazing big brother. He looks out for the kids. He's so helpful. But just like anybody, we can get sick of each other. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I think
they're gonna
that's
bicker,
it. I
yeah.
think that's his thing. He just kind of gets over it at some
Yeah.
point. He needs a release,
Yeah.
a break or whatever. So
Yeah, Sadie had her little period where she was like getting tired of Ruba, and he was being a little kid and annoying, you know, but she's very loving, and that's always something that, and of course, like growing up with my older brother David he was just always very loving and always provided a lot of guidance. And I always believed everything he said because I've always known and felt that whatever he said was going to there was always good intentions behind it. There was no malice. He was always very patient with us, with me and my sister. And so like that was kind of one of the things that really kind of laid the foundation for myself as a father to what I want to teach my kids as siblings as well. And but it's funny you say that because I feel the same way. Like I'm the parent. Like they don't need to be parents. They like they're kids. They don't need to have that mentality. Like their mentality right now is just chilling, getting done what they need to get done. Sadie needs to do well in school. That's her only job. Her chores and school. Outside of that, like she's such a great girl. Such a great girl. She takes care of her little brother, and her little brother can be a pest, and he knows that he's a pest, you know. But he does his thing.
he's just so cute.
Yeah, he's super cute, man.
Ain't nobody gonna scold me. I'm
Yeah,
cute.
it's super cute, man. And he's just like, and you know, like you said, it was funny, like talking about masculinity because it's always one thing, and it's always easy, and like as men, when we start to get pride in our mind, we start thinking like, okay, I got to teach him how to be tough. You know what I mean? And with Booba, he used to get really like sad. Like really sad, like just like it was crazy, like and he would get into this lull where he would like go sit down in his bed and he would just like sit there. And one day we wanted to see how long he literally sat in his bed for like 3 hours and then eventually fell asleep. And we were like, no, this can't happen.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And instead, like initially my response was kind of like I felt like I wanted to get angry about it. Like I wanted to be like, you better get up, man. But that was just like, no, I didn't even understand it.
Yeah.
And Sienna went to college for psychology, and it's always been a big thing within Sienna and something she's always interested in. And she was just like, hey, we gotta try to figure out where it's coming from and why, and how do we deal with it. But then we also got to help him understand his feelings too as well. Like don't just hit this lull and get stuck there. You know what I mean? And then like everything's doom and gloom. So like emotionally, I had to like learn how to sit down and talk to him and talk him through it. And like my goal has always been to like, how do I talk him through something if I'm not here?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do I guide him through this concept of like, okay, what do I do? So it's funny now because now, like, you know, he might do something, or Sadie, like one day he did something, like he took something of Sadie's because he was mad at her. Sadie yells at him, so I'm like, hey, I got go to your room, Sadie, go ahead, I got him. I scold him for something. And he's like he's sitting outside in the front yard, and like Sienna was watching him, and the door's like with a little screen gate. And he's like, man, he's like talking to himself. He's like, I wasn't trying to take Sadie's stuff. I just like wanted to grab it. And then, you know, and he's like slapping himself in his head. And he's like, you know, it was just an accident. But I said sorry.
Yeah,
you know, and then he's like beating himself up. So
Yeah,
then it's
yeah.
like, okay, now we see we're able to, hey, Booba, it's all right, man. Don't worry
Yeah.
about that, dude. Like, it's done. You said sorry. Sadie forgives you. Sadie's not worried about it. And eventually, like now through time, that's helped him be able to grasp the concept of like, okay, I messed up, but let me rectify the situation, and now how do I move forward?
Right, and that like it was mentioned earlier too. That kind of communication is vital. It's vital, you know, to be able to express to your kid like you did with Oliver there, and like I try to do with Jet. Like, hey man, I'm not scolding you for looking out for your siblings. What I'm trying to say is don't become a person like don't let me be the one that the kids get mad at because I yelled at them. Don't let that be you too, right? Don't let you know Ruby and Lily, like all Jet did when we were younger was yell at me. He thought he was the dad. He thought, you know, no. That's my job. Let them be mad at because all I did was yell at them. You know, I don't want you to have that kind of that memory in their minds. I want you to be like, hey, you know, let's think about it. Whatever, you know. So because he got pretty upset and emotional when I was talking to him about it, and I don't know. I think he thought I was scolding him, but I had to tell him that's not what I was doing. I wasn't trying to tell him he was wrong. I just wanted him to see the other side of things. Like look how maybe the girls are looking at it when you talk to him like that. Because I don't want him to be, like I said, I don't want him to be like that, you know. But that's, you know, again, one of the many challenges that we face as dads and dads of boys, and you know, dads of a boy and, you know, 4 girls.
Yeah.
So
I thought like being a dad to girls is gonna be the hardest, but I feel like that's been easier, and it's been harder like trying to be a dad to a young boy. But I almost feel like too, like I put more stress on being a dad, especially because of my childhood, and like I a self-induced stress. You know what I mean? And Bubba's like, he's always looking for confirmation. He's always like, does dad like it? What does dad think? Like, he wants to be just like me. And I'm kind of like, oh, that's a little nerve-wracking. You know what I mean? And
well, it makes you step your game up, though.
it really does.
It makes you step your game up. Because I know one of the things that I tend to beat myself up on is, am I doing enough? Am I spending enough of that time with the kids, whether it be as a group or individually? And it's a little harder. And it's not an excuse, but because I have so many kids, it's a little harder to give that individual time to each kid, you know. But Jet definitely is the one that seeks it out more. Hey, Dad, let's go on a bike ride. All right, hey, Dad, let's play basketball. Cool, let's play basketball. Like, trying my hardest to not just be like, oh, no, let's do it later, just because I feel lazy or whatever the case. And then use those times and opportunities to have conversation, even if it's something like, hey, how's school going? Right? Hey, what did you think about? Did you watch the game? You saw the game? What did you think about this? Or he'll get on YouTube and watch his little football highlights. Dad, did you see that catch DeAndre Hopkins had? Or, oh, Dad, did you see Saquon Barkley got hurt or OBJ got hurt? Or whatever. So, you know, even just keeping those like little lines of communication open, I think to me it's super important to let them know that I'm at least there and I'm listening. And I think as time goes on, and in Jet's at the age now where you're starting to realize, okay, if he asked me, hey, Dad, I want to play football and I want to be good, or I want to emulate this football player, you start to see those things about, hey, okay, I can push him in this area without doing like damage, right? Without ruining a relationship or whatever. So that's the other little things that I try to, kind of realize. Same thing with like schoolwork, like Lily, like she doesn't respond well to being like harshly scolded.
Yes, yeah, Booba's the same, yeah.
It's trying to figure out what's going on, having the conversation, and that kind of stuff, because otherwise the kids, they seem to shut down with the super hard stuff.
Yeah, Booba will too. Yeah, he does. He was talking to Dad one day, and he was saying that he wanted to go to the military. He like loves the military.
Yeah.
And Dad was like kind of hitting him on this like PTSD kick, and was like, the military is rough, son. And he starts going on and Oliver's like looking, and Oliver like looks at me like, what's Papa talking about, man? And I'm like, I'm sitting there like, I don't
started
know,
the conversation,
man. And then he's like telling him like, it's rough, and Dad's, yeah, for real, like, and that's like a whole nother topic. I think in society we don't take care of our soldiers as good as we should, but Dad asked Oliver like, why do you want to go to the military? And he's just like, because like I want to help people. Like I feel like it's like we should help other people that we don't know. And I was just like, dang, man, I was so proud of him. Like, dude,
he's got the right motives.
Man. And he couldn't like comprehend of how to explain it and why, but he was like, he's on the right track. You know what I mean? And that was cool. I didn't even help him with it. So that was neat, like to see his little brain moving and trying to figure out why. So now he's like huge on World War II, and he can name all the airplanes, and he can name all the tanks, and he'll be like, Dad, what's your favorite battle? And I don't really study like World War II battles, and I was like, I don't know, man. What's yours? The Battle of the Bulge. Why? Because it was a long, hard fought battle, and we won. And I was like, yeah, you're right, man. Like I agree with you.
That's cool.
I agree with you.
That's cool.
So like it's kind of neat, like. Because like you're saying with school, like he struggles with school sometimes, and it's really a focus. Like he has a hard time focusing.
Yeah.
But like he's learning this World War II stuff like crazy. Like D-Day, he'll tell you the dates. He'll tell you Normandy Beach. He'll tell you what happened. And it's just like, oh, that's just kind of neat.
That's his interest.
Yeah.
Jace is like that with outer space.
Oh yes.
With planets and astronauts and the Apollo this and the blah 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 that. Like he's the same way with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like once a boy finds something that they can focus on, it grabs their attention, and as long as you keep that, and that's a tool you can use as well. Like, hey man, you can get all the World War II stuff but you want in, but you have to do once you do this first, right? So you can almost use it as incentive and as tools to kind of help with that kind of stuff too, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I always do.
Let me ask you this: so I catch myself doing it. Do you ever catch yourself to a certain degree, like judging other parents and how they parent their kids, whether you think it's like wrong or right, or you know what I mean? Because personally, I think that's probably like the number. If I had to guess, I would say that's like the number one thing parents do, is judge other parents on how they're parenting, in certain situations, whether it be at like in a public, right? Like at the store, if the kid's throwing a fit, right? He's having a crazy meltdown, temper tantrum. Like you're like, okay, that wouldn't happen with me. That boy would have got a spanking in the car. Whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? I catch myself doing that a lot. Is that something that you ever think about?
I only did it once. When I lived in Beaumont, we had that super Walmart. That was like the only thing that was open late and shit. I was going grocery shopping. I was with Sienna one day, right before I sold my house. And this little girl was with her mom. And the little girl wanted something. The mom's like, no, Kelly, like, put it back. And she's like, you fucking bitch. And I remember thinking, like I almost snatched her ass up. Like, what? Like, did you? And she was looking at me like, oh, hell no, man. Like, if that would have been my mom would have annihilated me in the store. I remember that was one of the first times, and like the mom was like very frustrated, and it was like she didn't know what to do. She was very embarrassed.
Yeah.
So then I kind of thought like, okay, I didn't want to make her feel any worse. So I was just like, I'm just trying not to stare and call it a day. But the mouth that little girl had, bro, was
Wow.
like that's straight Irish Spring soap down her throat, bro. And but you know, I feel like there has been times, but um, I really don't, because as parents, and I think like as human beings, like as individuals, we have so many things and emotions and events that have guided us to where we're at and to what our interpretation of being a parent is. And so for me, it's hard to say whether a parent is wrong, because if you grew up a certain way, I feel like our parents subconsciously we have or I feel like subconsciously we have an idea of what we think parenting is. And then we tend to, as we get older and have kids, we're like, well, this is what a parent is, or this is what I need to do, versus really kind of taking a step back and looking at like, hey, how do I feel about being a parent? What's my perception of being a parent? What's my perspective? What are my expectations? Like, what are my expectations of myself, and what are my expectations of my kid? And so I really look at it from a standpoint from God, is like, we're all children of God. Like, I'm God's son and my son is God's son. So I kind of have this weird, unique mentality about it, as to like how that changes the way I treat him as well. And it changes my perspective of who my son is. Like, ultimately, he's God's son. I have to love him and I have to teach him. And so that, like, that going the distance of that mentality and that concept, as a father, like I really don't. I don't have the place and the knowledge and the time to judge someone else about their parenting skills, because we never know why. Like, even like I said myself, like one of the biggest drivers for myself was like, not like I had my dad, I had a dad, but I still had my biological dad, where I always felt like he didn't give a fuck about me. So like that was a massive driver to like why I'm the dad that I am today.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like I dealt with that with my biological dad in my 20s, and really like understanding how I feel and how I felt and why I feel this way, and like why I'm subconsciously going in this one direction, until like once I did that, I just broke down in like tears, and it was insane. So to me, it's really deep. Like, that's a really deep question.
Yeah.
As to like,
See, I one thing it's done for me, such I catch myself doing it, but I try to be introspective and take a step back and think, okay, I don't know what it is that they're going. So I think it's me having those moments of judging and be like, oh, okay, well, you're clearly letting your kid get away with way too much in private, because this is how they act in public. It gives me I guess like a sense of like empathy for them, and I think like, man, that's got to be tough. So rather than, I think maybe an initial judgment, it's like, yo, like to me that's the wrong way to handle it, or whatever, or you should have done this whatever the case is. It starts there, but then it turns into like, man, that's tough. That's got to be tough to deal with. Like, that's got to be. Who knows if it's, you know, that person doing it by themselves? Who knows what the home life is like? You know what I mean? So then I start to think like, it's not as simple as what it appears to be on the surface.
yes, yeah.
You know, but I think there is a lot to say too, though, for those kids who are very well behaved and well disciplined. You know, it's just as much as it is for the kids that stick out for being quote unquote bad kids, right? Bebe's kids, to those other kids, right, that are well behaved and well mannered, right? That is the work that is done in the home, and that is work that is done with the parents and the parenting, and it's evident on both sides.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
it
saying?
really is. It really is.
And then there's obviously you know, exceptions to everything. You can have an extremely good parent, extremely disciplined and all this stuff, but you just got a kid with the most amount of energy in the world that's insane. And what tougher time now than COVID to not be able to go out and do a lot of stuff, or get involved in sports or extracurricular stuff. And that's the kind of stuff, again, that I think that I start to have the empathy for, because you just don't you don't know the whole picture as much as you think you do, right? Just viewing it on the surface. So, but yeah, I that's something I always wonder, because I think of the same thing too. It's like a self-conscious thing. When I'm scolding my kids, or when I'm giving them a lecture or whatever, I always wonder like, oh, what do other people think? What do those parents like what do they think of how I'm doing it? Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do it because what I feel is right, and I'll take a step back at the end and be like, hey, did I handle that right?
Which is
But
dope.
I won't really consider whether they thought it was right or not.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? It
So
is a
at
thought
the time,
that
time it's like, oh, I wonder,
Yeah.
like how is this being perceived? But then
Right.
in the end, it's like, okay, what were my actions and how
right.
did I?
Doesn't
handle it
matter.
correctly?
That part doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is, did what I was feeling get across, or did I skew it by being angry and exploding, or lashing out, or saying something hurtful, that kind of stuff. And then that also leads into me. If I have to apologize, I am not above apologizing to my kids if I was wrong. I think it's a good. I think we talked about it before. It's a good example to set.
Yeah, teaching them how,
accountability.
it is. It's accountability. And it's also teaching them, like we told Booba, like you can make mistakes, man, but you got to rectify, you got to fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you move on. Like don't sit and hold on to it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's interesting, man. And it's kind of cool because it works. I told Booba one day, I said, bro, there was this little kid acting up, and I said, remember we watched Homer Simpson, man? Remember when Homer Simpson grabs Bart by the neck, and he's like, yeah, he thinks it's funny. I'm like, boy, don't make me do it.
Yeah.
Don't make me do it. But and it's funny because, those behaved kids, when they see kids misbehaving, they're like, ooh, like he's going to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because kids know.
They know.
Kids know.
And what's crazy is I think I spanked Sadie once. I've never had to spank Sadie. I've never had to spank Booba.
Yeah.
Like it's literally it's almost like an expectation, like they know.
Yeah.
And I think like as a dad, we have that enforcement, like, and we're bigger dudes, so they just already know, like, oh shit, my
yeah.
dad's mad, like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Which is super dope. So
Yeah.
it's interesting though, man.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. There are a lot of different ways and techniques of being a parent, but, and like you said earlier, like the foundation that you're coming at being a parent, it's that steers how you do your parenting. So, yeah, it's interesting stuff.
It's dope, huh?
Cool, man. Well, that's it. That's a
Well, I'm
wrap.
glad we get
We're
to
good.
be dads together.
Yes,
so
sir.
That's dope.
Cool,
huh?
man. Love you, dude.
I love you too.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye, boo boo.